guys, Bryan here from Liquid Concepts. So today we're going to talk a little bit about gun stocks. So had a customer bring in a gun stock. Figured we'd do a quick little video on it. I'm sure you guys are probably getting tons of gun stocks in, so we thought we'd go ahead, try to help you guys out and get you set up with a video on a gun stock. So this one's going to be a little bit different. You probably already saw a lot of my other gun stock videos where I do it just straight down in, or I roll it or something like that. So this one's going to be a little bit different. So this is more of like a more competition style gun stock. So it is going to be a little bit bigger part back here, things like that. And so the main thing is, of course, with this one, it came in just a fiberglass finish. And so what we've done is we have went through, we've sanded everything down, smoothed it out. If we was to clear coat this right now, it would be beautiful, smooth, everything would be ready to go. But customer wanted a wood grain finish on it, kind of fitting. It's a gun stock. Most of them are made of wood. This one's made of fiberglass, so of course, why not make it look like wood? All right, so that's where we come in. So pretty much what we've got here is we've done a couple of samples for the customer, showed him a few things. This is the color that he actually picked for the base coat. So definitely not your standard average color that you would get for a wood grain pattern, but it just kind of goes to show you, for whatever that the customer wants, you can do some pretty crazy colors to get a certain pattern and a certain look. And so we'll kind of show you this here. We've got this pattern right here. Now this is going to be our SWG 922. So if you're curious about it, you can also check it out in the link in the description below. We're gonna have a link on that for that. Really nice pattern. Now it doesn't show a lot of base color, but it does show a little bit. And so the customer wanted more of a red tone to it instead of more of this brown tone. So that's kind of why we went ahead and base coated it in a red, as well as what's neat about this pattern is that it does have a gold backing on it. So we'll pull this back and you can see we've got this gold backing all the way through there. So really neat film, because whenever we go to dip it, it gives a little bit of gold shimmer to it. And so whenever you throw a red base coat underneath it and then you have that shimmer, it's definitely one of those one-off custom patterns that you see that you probably won't find from any manufacturer doing this for mass production or anything like that. So of course here we can do this because we're only doing one of these, so therefore it's going to be fully custom, fully one-off. It's exactly what the customer wants. He picked it out, so that's what we're doing for him. All right, so a couple of things to talk about on this. So of course you can see we've got our gun stock holder here to where we can actually have a good grip on it, like this right here. We actually sell these. If you're interested in them, you can check them out in the link in the description below as well. I have a nice little hole right in here to hang parts with. Then you've got slots in here that you can literally just screw in the screws, and then you can hold it like that. You can hold it like this right here if you're dipping. Makes it a lot easier to just use in general. So we're definitely going to keep that on. So then the other thing is on something like this, we have this weird curve coming way down into here. And then of course, like I said before, we do have a large area that we're trying to stretch. So I feel like if we was going to do this in a single dip, it's going to stretch dramatically right in this area and right in through here. And it's not something that we want. And so we went ahead and we've informed the customer we're going to be doing a double dip on it. And so with a double dip, of course, as you know, we're going to dip half of this and then rinse it off and then tape off this half right here, and then turn around and then dip this half. And then once we pull everything apart and pull all the tape off of it from the first dip to the second dip, then we have an entire dipped gun. But everything is really nice and uniform all the way across here. Everything looks really good, and there's pretty much no stretch in it, which is exactly what we want to give to the customer, because we don't want anything that's stretched out as much as possible. So let's go ahead and get this thing started. So you'll also notice as well, we have already done this before we even did anything on the gun stock itself. We've taped off all of this area right in through here. So of course we want to make sure that any of the bedding area that's down in here, you know, if it's a competition rifle, even if it's a stock rifle, it's still something to definitely do, because a lot of the times on the higher end rifles, they do have very high tolerances. You're talking a thousandth of an inch, you know, and so you just want to make sure that you don't get any of that coating down in there. So then that way, whenever you do go to dip this and clear coat it, prime it, do anything like that, all of this is covered. So then whenever you pull all that tape back off, yes, it's not going to be covered in there, but you're going to have your entire barreled action sitting down in it, and it's going to fit just like it did from whenever it was either made at the factory or handmade and hand bedded, whichever the case may be. But definitely want to make sure that we account for that whenever we are getting everything started. So with that being said, let's go ahead. We'll get our tape together. We'll lay down the tape. Again, we're going to do half of it. We're going to just make a nice little line all the way down the bottom and all the way across the top. Once we got half of it taped off, we're going to go ahead, grab our film, lay it in the water, dip it, rinse it, and then dry it off, and then pretty much tape the other side, dip it again, rinse it, and then dry it off, and then of course clear coat it. Now that's a lot of steps. So of course, one thing to make sure of is that, you know, you account for those steps whenever you're pricing your jobs, as well as you know, some jobs, they just require a double dip instead of just a single dip. So whatever the case may be, this is kind of how we're going to be going about dipping this rifle stock. So let's stay tuned and hope you enjoy. Alright, so now that we got everything all taped up, as you can see, we have a very nice line going all the way in through here, all the way down, and down through here. Now again, I don't have all of this pushed down 100%. I don't really care that it's stuck to it. I just care that it's blocking it to where this dip, as it comes over onto the tape, it's not going to get onto the painted surface. And so again, we've got the same thing right here. We've got a really nice line coming all the way up through here, covering this top edge, and so now we're pretty much ready to dip. So we'll go ahead, we'll lay out our film, we'll figure out how much material that we need, and then we'll lay it in the water and get started with it. So here we go. So of course, on something like this, because we're only going just this much, we don't have to give ourselves a whole bunch of extra room. Pretty much just a couple of inches either side, like a standard, then we're gonna be pretty much good to go. So we'll take that off there, fold that back over, set that like that, and as you can see, of course, this is a 1 meter wide film, so it fits perfectly right in this area right here, and I still have enough room to hold it with the gun stock holder as well, so this will be really great. So we'll go ahead and cut this off and get this in the water and get started. So right now, the tank's sitting at about 81 degrees, so right in line with our 80 to 90 degrees, which is what we need. So we'll go ahead, pull our dividers in, get everything squared up. Everything looks good. And so now we'll go ahead, grab some gloves on, spray our activator after the minute, and then dip it, and then we'll see how everything comes out for the first dip. So here we go. Alright, so because I've got my nice little handhold right here for the gun stock, I'm actually going to dip it like this. Again, doesn't really matter which way. Main thing is that you go nice and smooth down into the water. So we'll hold this like that. Get ready. Alright, so now that we got that in, pull this right back out. Very nice hit all the way around. Again, we got good coverage all the way around, which is what we needed. Of course, just past this tape, that's all we needed on that. Same thing on that back side. Everything looks good, even up into the front. Got a good coverage all the way around. So we'll go ahead, we'll rinse this off, dry it off, lay down the second piece of tape, and pretty much get the other side dipped, and then we'll have ourselves a completely finished gun stock for 2 dips or a double dip, whichever you want to call it. So let's go ahead and get this thing rinsed. Alright, so we've got everything already dipped on the first part of the stock. Now we're on to the second dip. So we've went ahead and prepared the stock. So what I've got here is I've mainly just got the tape all the way across the stock. I've got my line going right down through here, and then of course I have my line going right down through here. Now again, whenever I am taping this up, I'm also making sure that I do have about a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch overlap between the 2 patterns. So then that way the second pattern will fold over onto the first pattern and give us a nice line, and then of course everything's nice and it looks uniform the way that it should. So let's go ahead and get this all ready to go. So pretty much we've got our film right here, and let's get this laid out and get it dipped. All right, so again, on something like this, you don't need a lot of film. Again, just an inch or 2 on both sides should be more than enough, because you don't have a lot of stretch going around each side. So this is way more than enough for what we need, but it'll work fine. And so we'll set that like that, and then get this in the water and get started. So again, we got it set at 83 degrees on our dipping area and 1 minute in the water. So we'll tighten these up just a little bit. That way everything stays nice and tight. We don't get any stretch or anything like that after we spray the activator. And so here in about 30 seconds or so, we'll grab the activator, spray it, and then go from there. So let's grab some gloves on and get started. Alright, everything looks really nice and glassed out. We'll check this one last time, make sure all of our tape is good. Everything looks like it's good, so now we'll just go in the water, nice and smooth, going all the way down. Nice. Alright, so now that we got that, so again, we got the other side right here. Beautiful dip, came out really good all the way around. We got good coverage all the way around here. So at this point right here, you can do one of 2 things. You can go ahead, rinse everything off first, then pull your tape off, or go ahead and leave it in the water, pull the tape off while it's in the water. Strictly up to you. Of course, if it's a wooden gun stock, you might want to be cautious on that, just because of course the more that you're soaking it in the water, the more that it's possible that the wood will swell or something like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. Fiberglass stocks, plastic stocks, of course you don't have to worry anything about that. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to put this in the rinse station, we're going to rinse everything off, and then go ahead, pull all of our tape off, and get this thing touched up, clear coated, show you guys the end result. I think you guys are really gonna enjoy and like the end result on it, so stay tuned. All right, so we got everything finished. We got the second dip all done. Everything's touched up, everything's clear coated. As usual, the dip came out amazing. So we'll kind of show you guys the end result on this. As you can tell, of course, we taped everything off down in through here. So of course, all the bedding, everything down inside this area, it's completely left the way that the factory made it, or in this case, the way that it was cast whenever it was made. And so pretty much everything is good down into here. The really nice thing about, like, especially this burl wood that we done, is that you can barely even see that line. I don't know if you can see that or not very well, but literally, I mean, it's almost non-existent. And then, so of course, we've got a really nice, beautiful finish all the way down through here. And then, of course, even the line down through here, it is still almost non-existent all the way through there. So I feel like this thing really turned out really good. The customer is definitely going to love it. Of course, we've even got it up here. Everything looks good on the front. So all around, I would say it's definitely going to be a good hit all the way around. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know we always do, making these things like this. If you have any questions or comments about anything that we have done here, or you'd like to even see you know, new videos on different things, anything like that, definitely leave them in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you guys on what you think about the stock, even, you know, any comments that you got or anything like that. I'm Bryan from Liquid Concepts, and this is how we customize your world. See you guys next time.